I've been looking into Africa lately because the study of the Torah and recently the investigation of the Torah has driven me to the study of Africa and Egypt, of course, Africa. In a strong kind of way, like when the Torah says that the God of the Torah drove out the man and the woman out of the Garden of Eden. So they didn't have any way to stop that. He drove them out. It was forceful. And so, having never considered Africa strongly before in my life, I've been looking into Africa lately because of the investigation of the Torah that I've been doing, where the Torah itself has brought the Torah into doubt in my mind. Because some things I see written in the Torah, I wondered how true these things could be, and some things I've already shown that they cannot possibly be true. So now I'm looking into Africa a bit more, and so I titled this here, God Does Not Believe in Africa. See, he'll believe in the children of Israel, and you've got Hebrew Israelites saying that they are the children of Israel, and so I was taught as well too, and now I'm wondering about that. So I'm in this strange kind of time where I'm vacillating, like I'm going side to side, and I'm wondering, where do I fit? It's kind of tough. I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to fight it. Some of my lessons now are going to seem more like they're on the Torah side. Some are going to seem like they're against the Torah. And it seems that I'm moving over to the side of Africa now and pulling away from the Torah a little bit, but still using the Torah to investigate all of this transition from what I once believed in, this book I once believed in. Because I note that through my studies that people have shown that God appeared in Africa, because Sinai, if it's in Africa, then God appeared to Africa. So I said to myself a couple months ago, what if in trying to find some of the other truths that are confusing when I read the Bible, because it seems to contradict itself, what if I stop reading or take a little break from reading the Bible as if it is talking about the children of Israel and start to read the Torah as if it is talking about the children of Africa or the children of Egypt / Kemet. And once I did that, I started to find all kinds of extra things that are pretty neat and that are actually exposing some of the things in the Torah that are just not right, that no proper thinking person of faith should accept. For instance, if God appeared first to Africans, why does the children of Israel take precedence in the scriptures when he appeared to them? The Cushites were there before the children of Israel, and it seems that they did not have the Torah of Israel, but they were taken down. And then you say, but the children of Israel were taken down as well when they disobeyed the Torah, the laws that they were given. But since we are taught that the Torah was only given to Israel and not to Africa, then maybe we can understand why Israel was taken down for disobeying the Torah. But how can we understand why the Cushites were taken down by the God who gave them power on earth to be the mighty Cushites of very ancient times? How can we understand how they were taken down when they did not break the Torah? Because the Torah, according to many scriptures, but like Amos chapter 3 verse 2, was given to the children of Israel, because it clearly says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, talking about Israel. So if Israel is taken down and sent into captivity and just dismembered because they broke the Torah, what Torah did the Cushites have that they would have broken when the Creator did not deal with them? Yet we find that many great African scholars have pointed out that the Cushites or the Egyptians came up with the concept of God. So if they came up with the concept of God, I'm racking my brain to try to figure out how come they came up with the concept of God, but Israel gets the revelation of God on Mount Sinai. That is a mystery I still cannot figure out to this day. But as I'm here showing today that God does not believe in Africa, lately I've been looking at for the past couple months now, 3 or 4 months, I've been looking at South Africa. I've been looking at Transkei and Umtata, that region over there, and the Xhosa people, and I realized that I was just drawn to the Xhosa people because I saw them and I'm like, man, some of these people, these Xhosa people, they look just like some of the people I grew up with in Jamaica. Like, it's like I'm calling on names of people I grew up around in Jamaica. I'm like, this lady looks like that lady I knew in Jamaica, looks like that brother I knew in Jamaica. And it's just like, I'm like, this is kind of crazy. It's like, for some of the people, they're like an exact copy, like an exact replica of the people I knew in Jamaica. And I'm like, this is too scary. This is freaky. It's like they look exactly like the Jamaicans, some of them that I saw, I'm like, this is really crazy. But the place itself, dealing with that region there, Transkei and so on, looks just like I mean, it just looks so peaceful, so nice, so beautiful. I'm like, man, that's a place I want to visit one day. That's a place I could live. But it's funny now that I started to look into South Africa, and all of a sudden, like I bought books and I'm reading and I'm looking into this. And all of a sudden, it just popped up recently, this whole EFF stuff going on there in South Africa. And all the land issues that they're going through right now, reclaiming the land that was stolen from them and so on. And I'm like, you know what? God really does not believe in Africa. Because, and I just happened to see a video this morning from Sarah Sutton-Seti. Because it just popped up on YouTube, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. And he was saying something about all the African nations that the God of the Torah destroyed. And I've heard him talk about this before, but it hit me this morning when he talked about it, and I'm like, man, it looks like God doesn't really believe in Africa. Because when I look at what the white Europeans did to these Xhosa people, and they fought them heavily and took away their land a long time ago, and it was a real bad war. It was really bad. Like, both sides suffered, a lot of damage. But eventually, we know the white South Africans, well, now they're called that, won in the end. So what I'm finding now is that the God of the Torah, if you say these are Hebrew people and we are Hebrew people, these black people saying that they're Hebrew Israelites, this God does not really believe in Africa. He cannot. He'll believe in the children of Israel, but he does not believe in Africa. And Africa is there fighting for survival, fighting for their life, fighting to rise up again, fighting to get up on their feet, fighting for survival. And the Africans that are spread all over the earth are fighting for their own survival as well. As many of us were scattered out through the earth, through slavery in the few slave ships that are talked about, but many of them were scattered through the earth, or just went through the earth in very ancient times, because Africans traveled to different parts of the earth and decided to stay there and build life and start there. So they became the original people in those lands until they were conquered. So what we find is that Africa was conquered on African soil, but Africans were also conquered throughout all the rest of the earth. This God sits down and he watches Africans be conquered everywhere, but sends a message through his Torah and through missionaries and so on, telling you that you are the children of Israel. But they don't want to tell you that you are the children of Africa, who were conquered and subdued on African soil and throughout all the earth. So now, if you tell me that the people in Africa that are suffering and taken over like that are the children of Israel, especially even the black people in West Africa, you're saying they are the children of Israel. But other people, especially the people who live in Africa, are telling you that these people are Africans. Now, who do I believe? Are these the children of Israel, or are they the children of Africa? Is this God of the Torah the God of Israel, or is he the God of Africa? Because God showed up in Africa first, even according to the Torah, because he made the man and he placed him in the Garden of Eden, somewhere seeming to do with Ethiopia. And so if he showed up in a garden talking to Adam, then God was there descending and walking through an African garden and talking to the so-called Adam. So God appeared in Ethiopia in the book of Genesis and talked with the man they say is named Adam. And when they supposedly fell, he came again and dealt with Adam and Eve and this so-called serpent. So God was first in Africa and first made himself known in Africa before he made himself known to the children of Israel, which again, anyway, was still in Africa when Moses went up at Sinai. So God seems to be all about Africa. So this God, is he the God of Israel, or is he the God of Africa? Somebody better work this stuff out, because I'm getting real confused and I'm being forced to sort it out myself, and this is how I sound while trying to sort it out. So this God that I'm saying here does not believe in Africa. He seems to have hit the children of Africa, these African nations like Seti is talking about, and I'm not calling his name for any big reason here, because like I'm not in his league. But I'm just saying that his video, his lesson caught my attention. And I like the way he brought it out. But the children of Israel ransacked African nations in ancient times, and they hit Africa. So the God of Israel destroyed African people in ancient times. And in modern times, we're finding that white Europeans destroyed Africans as well, whether they were in Africa in modern times or scattered over the earth in different nations that they started up when they traveled all over the earth, North and South America, all over the earth in modern times. So this God hit Africa in ancient times with the children of Israel, and he hit them again in modern times with white Europeans. So this God does not believe in Africa because he allowed black Hebrew Israelites coming out of Egypt supposedly to hit African people back then, these African nations that they conquered and so on. And then in modern times he lets white people hit Africans again. So this God does not believe in Africans, and he does not believe in Africa. And as far as I have checked when I've been searching, man began in Africa, was born or made in Africa, and then spread out through all the earth. So God, just by the start of creating man, is a God of an African people who later on spread out through all the earth. God is the God of Africa, with the first man coming up somewhere in Kenya, Ethiopian region, or wherever he came from. Central Africa, wherever. Africa. So God is the God of Africa. Because if God made the first man in Israel, you'd have all been saying he's the God of Israel. Well, he made the first man in Africa. So whose God is he? So if the Hebrew Israelites came out of Egypt, the black Hebrew Israelites, just for effect, I'll put it like that. I'm not trying to really curse you with it. But if the black Hebrews came out of Egypt and killed off a lot of these other nations that were there, like the Canaanites and so on, who, from the best I can see and what I'm learning from people, were African people. So black Hebrews came out of Egypt and killed off other Africans. So, I mean, if you're in America right now and all these different Western countries where you're looking for reparations from white people, because they destroyed you and your forefathers in slavery and so on, and put you through hardships and so on. And I'm not saying you shouldn't try to get your reparations. However it's going to be handled, it's going to be handled. But if you feel you have been wronged and killed and slaughtered by white people who massacred your people, and you feel you should get reparations, shouldn't Africans get reparations because you slaughtered them coming out of Egypt? So why don't you tell all these white governments who you feel need to give you reparations. In Canada, in America, the British, the French, everybody who needs to give you reparations. Why don't you tell them just to pass on the reparations, to pass on the payments to Africans? Because we owe Africans reparations as well, because us as the black Hebrews came out of Egypt and killed Africans, so we owe them as well the same way you owe us. Just pass on the payment to Africans. Because we killed Africans in ancient times, just like white people killed us in modern times. So if white people are guilty and need to pay you back something, why don't you feel like you are guilty to need to pay back Africans? I fail to understand how Hebrews are teaching, and they got me with that stuff. I was trying to curse. I was cursing Africans at first when I came to this Hebrew Israelite stuff. And now I'm like, no, that has to be wrong. Why am I cursing the African? And we all came out of Africa. Especially when you understand that if Israel is in Africa, except on political maps, then the Israelite is really an African. So why am I taught by Hebrew Israelite doctrine to hate Africa? It's because the Torah is being used to teach a God that hates Africa. And that needs to stop. That needs to be cleared up by the people who are teaching this stuff. Something is wrong with your teaching. Now, the next problem I have is about being sick. If you have a child in your house and the child starts showing little symptoms of something and you feel that the child is sick and you feel like, oh, it might be this or that kind of sickness the child has, but regular over-the-counter stuff can't deal with it, you take them to the doctor, and if it's a serious thing, they might need to do some surgery. Now, if Israelites are coming out of Egypt and killing African nations because their God Yahweh tells them to kill these other Africans, and if white people today are killing black people and subjugating them, put them into slavery and still have them in slavery today, even though it seems more like a watered down slavery, then what does that say about the God of the Torah, who is known as the God of Israel? He does not seem to me like a God that warrants my worship or my faith as much as I used to think that. Because if a child is sick in your house, gravely ill, you're going to take him to get surgery and to be treated because something is wrong with him. But God sees that man is wicked on the earth, and both black and white are killing people. They are killing people left, right, and center. And the God of the Torah does not do surgery on man to say, how could I have created man so evil? Let me do some surgery. Man is not acting right. He's not living right. He's not performing, functioning right on the earth. Let me do some surgery. His DNA probably went wrong. Something is wrong with his brain cells. He's killing people. Even black people are killing people coming out of Egypt and killing other black nations, like Seti pointed out. And white people are killing black people. And white people are also dropping bombs and killing other white people as well. This God of the Torah, if he is real, he does not say like a child sick in your house, I need to perform surgery on the people of earth. Something is wrong with their brain cells that make them not think right and think it is okay to kill other people. And he does not do anything about their DNA that may have been corrupted to let them be killing people. How can this God of the Torah be real? And how can he deserve my faith anymore? When people are sick on earth from doing all kinds of evil, and he never stops to fix the problem. But if we were living in the days of the Torah, when the Torah was being written, there would be some miraculous intervention where an angel would be sent to deliver people and to fix a problem. If you are coming out of Egypt, an angel would show up to try to help you and give you victory or something like that. An angel would come as a death angel to try to save you and tell you, put this blood on your doorpost because I'm going to save everybody. But in modern times, if Leopold is chopping off your hands or your feet or whatever parts he chopped off, you cannot have an angelic intervention from the God of Israel and from the God of the Torah, because that God only exists on the pages of the Torah, on the pages of the Bible. He does not exist in real life. He does not exist in modern times. He only exists when the Bible's pages are being turned. But as soon as the scribe finishes writing the Torah, no more angels can show up. The last angel showed up when the Torah was being written, but after the Torah closes out with Malachi, he does not show up anymore. And they revived him a little bit for the New Testament. and had these same angels show up in the New Testament. But as soon as the New Testament closes, angels cannot show up anymore to deal with anything dealing with mankind anymore, because the God in the Bible, whether it is the Torah or the New Testament, can only show up and be active with his angels and his power and his miracles when the pages of the Bible are being flipped. But as soon as it gets to modern times, when the Bible has already been completed and published, angels don't show up anymore. The God of the Torah doesn't show up anymore. The New Testament God, he doesn't show up anymore. Tell me if this God is real, or if he is just a figment of the imagination of men, especially men who created the Torah and the New Testament. Tell me if this God is real. 185,000 Assyrian soldiers taken out in one night by one angel. But millions died in the slave trade, and not one angel came out to do anything, and you say you are the children of Israel? I don't think you are the children of Israel. You are the children of Africa. The Torah studying and investigation led me to look at Africa, and I'd rather continue to study Africa and study Egypt than study an Israel that does not make sense to me anymore. And if this God of the Torah is real and he gave the Torah, then I'm willing to change my mind. But you will take the God of Israel activating and showing himself once more so that I can have faith in him once more. That's what it will take. It will not take your expert teaching, because enough teaching has gone on in the world about the Torah so far for thousands of years. What we need is the activity of this God of the Torah one more time before we can believe in Sinai once again. Sinai is way too old. Too many people have died on earth. We need this God to rumble on top of Sinai once again so that we can know that this God is real, instead of just reading that it is real on the pages of the book that a man went up there climbing with his sandals and goat skin. God must rumble at Sinai again. Better yet, he should rumble on your street where you live, on your job where you are, on your city streets, in your cities, so that we know all over the earth, when God rumbles one more time, in modern times, everywhere on earth, we can know that this God is real. He is not just the ink on a paper. Because just about all the gods of ancient times did miraculous things. The God of thunder, the God of light, the God of this, the God of rain, the God of that. But they don't do these miraculous things anymore. When was the last time you saw the thunder God do all kinds of stuff and devour his enemies? Because the myths have stopped being written, so the thunder God doesn't conquer the next God anymore. These gods are fake, and I put Yahweh in the same category. I'd rather have faith in man than have faith in this God. I'd rather have faith in Africans who, according to people like Dr. Ben and many other teachers, have shown that the Egyptians / the Cushites came up with the concept of God. That I can believe in, because I still see these same Africans as destroyed as they are, but rising again. I can see them, so I can believe in them. But I cannot see this God. I cannot believe in him in the same way anymore. Not when he has sent black people in ancient times coming out of Egypt against these Africans, and in modern times supposedly sent white people against them for some supposed destruction out of a curse from the Bible. So God sends both black and white to curse and to hit Africa. Something is wrong. He makes a great land of people, the Africans, and made sure that would be known that this is the first place where man is found. Man came out of Africa, and then he cuts down the people in that land. What kind of blessing is that? Everybody trying to preserve some kind of archaeological find to prove this and that about this land and that land and whatever, or this legacy and that people group and that happening and that part of history. But God isn't trying to preserve Africa. He strikes them down whether he uses black people or white people. It doesn't matter what. God does not like Africa. And I'm not meaning to cause offense to anyone with this. I'm just telling you I'm a man in search of the truth. And I'm telling you, while I'm investigating the Torah, now I'm searching through history, and the God, Yahweh of the Torah, does not make sense to me anymore. He does not. But man makes sense. when I see the Africans struggling to get up on their feet again, like in ancient times, yeah, I can believe that is a struggle worth fighting for, instead of trying to struggle to convince you how much you should believe that you are a Hebrew Israelite. I'd rather believe, because I never saw a Hebrew Israelite running a kingdom. But I see today African kingdoms, African nations that are still there with their monuments and structures of when they had power in their own kingdoms. Those things are still there today. I can see that. So I can believe in man. I cannot believe in God, the God of the Torah, like this the same way anymore.